Hello and welcome to Das Nostalgia. Anatoly here, about to play Another World, one of my favorite games. Despite owning the original discs with the code wheel and everything, I actually played that old original version that I kept throughout the years, the pirated version that I played originally way back when. So yeah, I'm gonna play through the entire game. This is me speaking over a recording because this game gets a bit too intense for me to talk and play at the same time, but it's not impossible. I love this intro. I will never forget the moment when I saw that intro for the first time. I was at my friend's place. I went to his house after school and I saw that for the first time. Just the car pulling up. And the hand gets cut off over here. Great music. So yes, I did a review of this game 7 years ago now. This is all an effort of one man, French guy named Eric Chailly. Everything but music and some sound effects. And also I think not the PC port. But yeah. Peanut Computer OS, CDOS. Yeah, you play as Lester Knight Chaikin, a professor, I guess a physicist, or something, who is a very lonely man, and despite driving a Ferrari, who he shows off to absolutely nobody in the middle of a night, a rainy night, keeps working on a particle acceleration experiments. So I'm also going to point out the differences between this DOS version, which was a definitive one for the longest time, and the original Amiga version. There's quite a few additions, at least the ones that I remember. So Lightning is about to strike and he's about to be transported to another world, which is the original title, which I like because I'm sorry, Out of This World just sounds something like a hippie would say. Something is out of this world. Yeah, Another World sounds a bit more mysterious. Amazing graphics here. So, but this is long intro, and then the game wastes no time before it begins. I actually really like that. Yeah, this first sequence, originally when you're watching the intro, this is normally what happens. You don't really have time to react. So DOS version is a bit more generous with save points than the Amiga one is. But then again, there are some complete scenes that are added. Alright, so we swim up here, and I absolutely love this reveal. The birds or whatever, the flying creatures in the background, and the big black creature, all foreshadows, and even the drops. Like there's a little puddle under Lester. You have to keep moving because there's tentacles that grab you. Yeah, the whole game is controlled with just 5 buttons. Just the directional buttons and the action button, which is enter or space. There's also this little crab in the original version, a black crab that walked back and forth, and it got removed. I don't know why, probably because it was confusing, because it was in the foreground and you couldn't interact with it. So there's the slugs you have to get rid of. Only 4 on screen at the same time, which is why on the second screen there's about 7 of them or something like that. And you don't have to technically kill all of them because you can jump over them. But I prefer to clear out everything because, you know, why chance it? Backgrounds are beautiful. Each screen has 16 colors, not just the backgrounds, but also including the character and everything else. So. And by the way, if you're watching this and you've never played it, please just go stop it and just go play it. It's available now on just about everything, the 20 or the 25th anniversary edition. This was your first puzzle. Everything in this game is trial and error. So I think it's a great game that despite having trial and error gameplay, it actually really works. Everything sort of, you know, you keep replaying the same sections over and over fairly quickly, so you get to learn what anything is. But yes, of course, there's not, you know, it's trial and error because you would never know what's coming and how to deal with it unless you've already died a couple of times and figured it out. You know, essentially just a puzzle game in a way. A cinematic platformer, which is weird because the genre originated with Prince of Persia, but this game clearly took it to sort of a next place. This is clearly a cinematic platformer, and for the time it was amazing. I think it's still amazing. Here's a reveal of Buddy, the alien, your friend. This mechanic that you have to rock the cage to alert the guard. The sound is a bit more crackly in the DOS version, at least using the emulation, but on the Amiga the sound is actually in stereo. I love that guy in the background who like just like shows up. I know that's what a lot of people like to call Buddy, but officially he's known as Buddy, the alien Buddy. This game is so ahead of its time in many ways, especially in the presentation of the world. That sort of background, foreground action to sort of show you what's going on, because there's so little is known to you. You know, you're in this alien world. I think is really, really great. It's all visual storytelling. To me, Half-Life did the same thing a few years later for a first-person shooter genre. Here you have to kill everybody because if you just run away, a guy will appear right on the screen and kill you instantly. This is like a little throwaway moment. It means nothing for the story or for the progression, but I love this. This is just beautiful. I also have to point out that this, if you've seen the length of video already, this game is really, really short if you know what you're doing. So just keep playing, eventually you'll get good at it. This is a section that was a bit expanded in the PC version. There's a guard here that you have to shoot and he's quick on the draw. You actually had to shoot the power line on the left side of the screen. That would prevent an alien on this screen from opening his doors and killing you instantly. Again, trial and error, and I won't show you all the things that could go wrong. There's not going to be like a death montage and stuff. I've been playing this game for so long. Essentially, my completion of the game is an autopilot at this point, and I cannot help it. And the few moments when it's not an autopilot, I'll point out. And you see the body gets captured there. This is one of the non-autopilot moments. This moment is a lot harder than the original version, and I played this moment very carefully. Surprisingly enough, this little chunk is the part of the game that gives me the most problems. And yeah, if you just tap the button, he just kind of side slides. And you can see I sort of forget what the rest of this looks like. There is no way to die for the rest of it, but I get really nervous because I don't want to die. I love this animation of Lester's hair. This gives you gun recharge. Yeah, if you actually used the super powerful blast, which is what happens when you hold the button for a long time, earlier in the prison sequence, your gun would run out of ammo, sort of, the charge, and you need to recharge it here. The beginning of this game is really easy. I remember how hard this game was when I first started playing, but honestly, if you play it long enough, all of this is relatively painless. Okay, this is the section that most people have to have problems with. I'm going to rush through as quickly as I can. This is because you need to do certain things in sequence, and you can mess up the order sort of. But the clue is this game has automatic checkpoints. So at this moment, if you're doing something wrong, you get reset all the way back to the beginning of the chapter. So that's your tell for you're not doing something right. It is also pretty hard. I know some people, I've seen some like speedruns where people just jump over this. I cannot do this. I'm a bit nervous about this. Grabbing tentacles. Everything is a one hit death, obviously. There is no hit points or GUI of any kind. This game is just about total immersion. So this super blast will sort of get rid of those tentacles. Here, let's keep jumping over the mouth pits that eat you. You can actually step on their edges a little bit, so that helps. So the reason we are here is we need to pre-clear this portion to prepare it for what we do next. Also, yeah, in another world, it's sometimes just better to jump. And here you see, I like the color choices. Like this, you need to scare this little creature, little dragon stuff, but it stood out because it was red. I mean, Eric is obviously very visual. He's he's an artist himself, so he knows how to. Everything I think is telegraphed really, really well. Like, considering how old this game is, nobody was doing this. And yes, it was inspired by Prince of Persia, but again, like, this is a bit next level, less puzzly, more sort of environment interaction and cutscenes, of course, and action going on while the gameplay is going. So yeah, that's why we blew out this wall earlier, so we can do this. I remember being very nervous the first few times I played this with the water, but honestly, this is like the easiest part of this chapter. And that's that. If you did it in this order, then you can continue to the next part of the game. Here, there used to be like a giant waterfall here, which we couldn't pass through earlier. And as you can see, all of that was to clear that broken bridge. For some reason, there's one frame of the waterfall always appears when you sort of load that screen up, but whatever. So you can see here's your buddy, and he can't move because of the thing that blocks his path, and that's what we're here to do essentially in this chapter, we need to sort of do something to let him go through. There's a bit of a puzzle. Things get a bit tough here, so you have to put up the shield so the guy wouldn't shoot you, and then let the doors close so his grenade would bounce back to him. And that thing you can see is a permanent shield that he has. So in here there's those 3 spheres and a guy walking underneath, actually in a further chapter that he stops and you need to knock him out. Otherwise he would have you killed. Again, you would have no foresight of this unless you've played like for the whole chapter and then realize that you're sort of screwed and backtracked. And this is one of the places you can backtrack to. So I'm just doing everything in the best sequence that I could figure out. This moment is pretty great. That's coming up. A nice surprise. Things get hard in this chapter, right? You just try to leave the screen and you get punched in the face. But the action part will let you kick the guy in the balls, and then another guy comes up on the left. I prefer to move a little bit, because otherwise they can just walk. If they're close enough to your shield, they can just walk, they can just walk through it and shoot you. Same is true for you. I've seen some people do it in speedruns. I'm way too nervous. Okay, so that chandelier was holding up a piece that was blocking Buddy's path, and if you would go upstairs, you'd see him sort of jump through the corner. Now, what's coming up when you go to this next screen is the hardest part of the game. I think you get attacked from both sides when you clear about a third of the way into the screen, and yeah, so I sort of mess up. I put the screen too early. This is actually about where you cross, yep. And I do really well here because I have enough foresight and cautiousness. But check out my old review of the game. I actually have this moment almost near the entirety when it's a really close call on both sides, and I put my shield sort of honestly in the middle. Here's this big water section. It's not particularly interesting. You just have to not run out of air And you do that by sort of going into like the little tunnel with an air pocket in it, and there's a bit of a dick move there. Again, that first tunnel that we just passed by does not have any air in it. So if you go in there and then come out, you don't have any time to replenish air, and you drown as you near here. But yeah, we fill up on our air, and we are here. This is a part that we made sure flooded previously. And yeah, this is a part that was changed from Amiga version. Those mouth pits were put in there, and there's that screen with the power line was moved. It was originally just right here when you swam up, and there was no like mortal danger. But there's also a safe spot there, I think. So DOS version was made. You know, it had more generous checkpoints because it had additional parts. Yeah, I don't remember if I probably won't have enough air to swim back to the surface. So better safe than sorry. So yeah, so there's additional levels, but also more checkpoints. So it kind of balances out. And needless to say, all the game versions that came after the fact, the console versions and even the new current versions for current platforms. You can get this game on your phone, by the way, and it actually works. You'd think such a twitchy game wouldn't work well with the touch controls, but it actually does really well. How the screen is separated into zones and you just tap things. I think it works really well. Not the most optimal thing for it, but it was also made a bit easier. So please go buy it. It's really worth it. But yeah, so we shut off that power line for like way later in the game, and this is a guy that we neutralize with the spheres. And yeah, here's a sort of a action bit where all you do here is run right, but this is really intense if you haven't played this before. And here you keep just getting attacked by guards that had their speed punched up a little bit, so like they're more deadly. You have no time to waste putting in shields and shooting them, and then grab your buddy's hand. And okay, this moment is completely added for it. This whole section, I'll tell you when it's over, but it was not in the original version at all. And you see the buddy gets caught, you go around, there's a shield, and you just... I really like that, sort of like, this is sort of when you and buddy work together chapter that wasn't really present in the original, which I think is important for that reason. So he helps you out, but he himself cannot clear it. And here's, you have to sort of take a leap of faith. And again, a really hard moment happens. Like, you don't have much time to react to those two guys. And if you sort of, yeah, I cheat a little bit. See? But they would have done the same. Like, if you just sort of put your shield a bit more to the left, they just walk into your shield and shoot you. So I don't feel bad about this. Here's an interesting puzzle. If you shoot a guy once, you don't kill him, and he raises his hand and then he presses the button to close the door, make it safe for himself, but that's for you to deal with later. Yeah, if you shot him the second time, people behind the gate would have killed you. So you put up the shield here, same way as you dealt with the other person, and he rolls the grenades. You need at least a couple, or I think 3. Like, even 2 is not enough before you can kill him, because those grenades free up a path for you later. And this is why you had the guy close the door, so this guy wouldn't instantly kill you as soon as you land. He has one of those preset screens, the protective shields, I mean. And you shut off the lights, shut off the electricity in the next section. Why? Well, you'll find out why, because this is what happens. Otherwise, you'd been dead. And here you have to jump. You have to jump and pull the lever to release. Everything is sort of well communicated in this game. Like, you know to pull the lever is because if you don't and you go on the screen, there's this beast that just goes like "Rrr, rrr," in the cage. So, like, you sort of know that you have to do something with it. And yeah, so we have to do something here, but first we have to free Buddy. And now he shows you what to do. You do the same. And this is where this new level for DOS version ends. Originally you would just end up in this thing, which is... I don't know how I feel about this. This is like the most different yet the shortest and sort of most useless thing. So here you're in this gladiator arena and you just keep getting shots, so you have a limited time to just push the buttons until you find the eject button. The principle is just keep pressing buttons that appear until you find the blinking button. It's just sort of... Oh yeah, and the female bathhouse, where in the console versions the butt cracks have been painted out, well, removed. And we're in the final stretch of the game. This is the end. Spoilers. So if you don't know how if you've never played this far and don't want to know how the game ends, don't watch. It's weird how easy I find this game currently, because it used to be pretty hard. Some people will say, oh yeah, it's a really, really hard game, but honestly it isn't. This is just a lot of sort of practice. They do give you a lot of sort of space to work with. Like, I find their semi-follow-up to this game, Heart of Darkness, a lot more difficult than this. And here, yeah, there's sort of the cinematic moment of bad guy catches you, and you can tell he's bad because he got red eyes. And this was very unexpected for me when I first played this as a kid. This game does not particularly have a good ending, as you can tell. Lester is injured, and so you sort of need to use the last, the last of your energy to sort of get rid of the bad guys. So pulling the two levers on the right opens the hatch on the top, and the first lever, when you first open it, there's a beam of light that will kill anything that's under it. So you need to make sure that's how you kill the bad guy. And a second lever just opens the hatch so you can teleport yourself upstairs. And yep. And you can see the buddies climbing, but you don't have time to waste. You don't have time to wait for him. There's only 3 shots of a laser that you're given. Third one always gets you. So I think you'll see the first one here. So that gives you like an idea of a limited time. I remember the first time, well, not the first time, but playing this when I was a kid, and my grandmother walking by and she saw this and she's like, "Oh, how awful, a coffin." Yeah, but this is actually very sort of, well, I cannot say it's a sad ending because there's hope, but you can see that Lester's injury, he's done. And I remember as a kid this made me really emotional. Like, it's him and his alien buddy. They were prisoners. You don't really know anything about this world or whatever, but you sort of get the idea that Buddy is not just helping you because he was also a prisoner, but something happened there. Buddy's a good guy. He didn't leave you to die. Just the two of you fly off. And it's really the end of this game, and I like it the way it is. And you can see there's just one person and another person for music and sounds. I really like that. There's an unofficial Sega CD, official / unofficial sequel on Sega CD called Heart of Darkness that Eric suggested the story and approved a few backgrounds for, but wasn't involved in actually developing. And that it turned out to be a bad game, and I think it's bad to what it did to the characters in the end. Or you can sell the third from the bottom. Philip Ulrich is thanked here. That's the founder of Cryo. Interactive Entertainment. At that point, still Exos and Eerie Informatique. Now go back to Another Earth. So the game really does encourage you to play through it again. And this is the end. It's actually a very short game. Speedrunners do it faster. I don't care. This is how I normally play it. And if you ever thought this game was hard, trust me, just keep playing, and this will you get. You'll get to this point. It's not anything special, I assure you. Well, this is it. I don't know. It feels like I wanted to say so much more, and I didn't. And I just kept, talking over this. But whatever. If you like this game, or if you don't like this game, or if you have any suggestions or concerns or corrections, please leave a message and comments. Follow me on Twitter @DasNostalgic, and have a great day. And hopefully we'll see each other again. Goodbye.